everyone. This is Julian with Nerd. I am here with Robin, Bjorkell, and Simon Viklund, developers on actually, you know them from PAYDAY, you know them from GTFO, and now most recently, Den of Wolves. Just had a chance to play, had a ton of fun. But really quickly, could you all give the people just a quick description of what Den of Wolves is?
It's a first-person shooter co-op game with a heist theme, taking place in the future.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Future.
Yeah. And could you just talk a little bit about kind of the background of the story, kind of how we got here?
Yeah, AI becomes an unstoppable hacking tool. Corporations around the world, big pharma and big oil and everything, they go together. Okay, we can solve this. We're holding the solution hostage unless you give us sort of a piece of land where we can establish an unregulated individual zone, which is a corporate freedom where corporations can make the rules and do anything they want. They get Midway Island in the North Pacific Ocean and they'll build a city there that they call Midway City. That's where the game takes place. And you're sort of, like a social outcast, criminal entrepreneur that's just trying to make a living there. And it's sort of a gig job economy where the corporations hire you to do the dirty work in order to sabotage for their opponents or steal prototypes, industrial espionage, robbery, assassinations, that sort of stuff.
Cool. No, thank you for that. And you kind of talked about it in the presentation before this. Co-op is in your DNA. But how is Den of Wolves a little bit different from PAYDAY or GTFO?
Oh, in a lot of ways. We proved how easy it is to just get along with your teammates and playing with random people. In PAYDAY, did you play PAYDAY? You know how you spawn it from the bank, and it's like, okay, let's go to the back door. And someone else is like, no, we'll go to the front door. And then while you're discussing that, the third person is climbing up on the ladder on the roof, I'm going through the roof. Yeah. And then you spend your Friday evening to try to convince others to do the plan the way you wanted them to play.
Yeah.
And then midway through the mission, a fourth person joins. The mid-mission drops in and so how you guys doing it? And they get a big, while you're shooting at enemies, trying to explain how we're trying to do it this way. But it's great that they have the option, obviously, to do the mission in different ways, and we're proud of that aspect of PAYDAY too. But we moved it for Den of Wolves in order to make the cooperation between players, be it people you know and don't know, more streamlined. We moved the decision into the lobby. Essentially, before the mission, you say, "We want to go through the back door."
Yep.
And then when you press start, the game launches a version of the map where you totally do it that way. So you have the options. We can have the cake and eat it. You have the options to do it different ways, but you make the decision before you launch the map, and then there's only one way to do it. In that instance of the map, and then if someone dropping joins, they will be guided by their game, the waypoints, and the objective texts, showing them how to do in their language if they're playing another, if they're not speaking English. The game shows them how to do the heist the way you decided to.
Yeah.
So it's just easier, more streamlined to sort of agree on stakes and get along with people, play with randoms and so on. Another thing in PAYDAY is what is it that I mentioned? Well, compared to GTFO and PAYDAY, I'd say the storytelling is improved. In PAYDAY, the storytelling is really happening on YouTube videos, trailers, and short films. Not so much in the game, really. In GTFO, if you're interested in the story, you really need to read logs and emails and your backstory sort of as documentation, telling you what happened with that underground complex on video screens or the computer terminals inside the game. So if we're playing together and Robin is interested in the backstory, but we're not. We're just standing by the next door. Come on, Robin, and Robin is reading England. Yeah, and that just creates friction in the team. We're thinking a lot about that. Making sure that when you're in the mission, it's about completing the mission, and there's no reason for you to do anything else with it. There's no logs to read or looking for backstory, tidbits and stuff. if you find anything you can't read it then and there, you'll have to read it on your own time outside of the first-person shooter experience.
Yeah.
Just to make it easier for people to sort of digest the storytelling when there's time, really. Because during the missions, it's about completing the objectives.
Yeah.
We're allowing people to set the rules regarding how people can drop in join. So you can say, well, people can join in random people who speak other languages, but they can't complete the objectives.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to be robbed of the joy of completing the objectives and making the choices in the map. So people can drop and join, but their mission is not to complete the objectives, and they can't. Their objective is to protect you. So they're more like guns for hire. So you can sort of, sort of compartmentalize or section off what you're doing and what other people are doing, but you just play together. It just makes it easier, even if you don't speak the same language. They will have sort of a basic objective, and they get rewarded for their playtime by the game for doing that. Oh, okay. So there's a lot of thought going into from Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter that I worked on and Wolf worked on, and several other founders worked on back in 2005 that had co-op, through PAYDAY, Heist and PAYDAY 2 and GTFO and then Wolves. We're just looking at the cooperative formula, trying to improve it. Looking at how to tell a story, how to foster a community and get people to get along and play more easily together. Just challenging the players in an interesting ways, that leads me to the dives, which is really an interesting concept to as I said in the presentation, inject sort of a different vibe in the middle of a mission. And one of the things that is cool in PAYDAY, but sort of primitive, is the fact that once you get discovered in stealth, it's like you can never go back to stealth again.
Yeah.
And with dives, we can really you're stealth, but then you can do a dive, which is an action scenario, and then you're back to stealth again, or it's an action scenario, and then suddenly you're in a dive, which is more like a horror, sort of like being chased or trapped by monsters through some forest or a maze or something.
Yeah.
And if you complete or fail in that, you're thrown back into the real world again, back into action. So we can really sort of do what you call it, drastic changes to the drama curve and changes in intensity in the gameplay. So the concept of sci-fi in this game, in Dead of Wolves, is really to give us freedom to put anything in there that we think serves the purpose of making it an exciting and challenging game. So be it enemy types, gadgets, weapons, scenarios, whatever we think is interesting, and it's such a freedom to not have to be bound by an IP or an existing franchise. We're coming up with something new, and can do whatever we want. And then it's really everything in the backstory and the concept really serves, making a good first-person shooter called game.
Perfect. I'm going to check something really quick because I like to ask this last question because I think that was it's always interesting. I worked in game dev for a little bit, and I know your role was music. I know you do other things, but I like to ask people's favorite part of the game or the development process. I don't know if music is your default. Is your favorite by default, or if because I know for me, I was in there, I was listening to watching the trailer, listening to the music, and that really kind of pulled me into it. So I guess both of you, what would be your favorite part of kind of working through this process of the game and show?
I would say this.
Yeah.
Meeting people for the first time who like games and show them this is our game. There's a lot of good games out there, but this is ours. We're proud of it. It's our baby. Yeah. Check it out. Get to sort of come out of your shell or your bubble as a developer out into the dark cave and be like, okay, out into the world and show them what we got. And you're never sure that it's good. You're we have a good track record and we got some confidence, but it's still it's always a little bit exciting and scary.
Exciting, you have to feel exciting, here from Sweden, a little bit because we've been playing it a lot, obviously, but then you get a sense it's stuck in a cave and is it good or is it not?
Yeah.
But so yeah, it's fantastic when we're showing people actually what like it. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's such a relief, and it gives you also like encourage you to take a work on it.
Yeah, the trap is, or the danger is that you're the things that are really cool and new become, we've played it for so long, and I think and then you start thinking like, oh, this is common, or this is not enough, to make it exciting. And then you also, as a developer, you're aware of the flaws and where it's going. Like, oh, there's so much more that we want to add that makes it even cooler.
Yeah.
But we're traveling now with a version of the game that doesn't have that yet.
Mhm.
So it's easy for us to be like, just see how it's not going to work, and then see the negatives.
Yeah.
But I think we confirmed that we're onto something at least.
It's cool.
Cool. No, it's great. I really appreciate you all taking the time, kind of letting us check out the game. And if I remember correctly, you said it is launching into Steam Early Access.
Yeah.
Cool.
But when is
when?
it's before 2030?
Yeah. You put the 202 right.
Yeah.
So during that decade at least.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
I mean, no, but
It's done when it's done.
it puts a lot of stress on the developers
no,
to be like a public release date,
Yeah.
and we don't want to rush it. There's a lot of broken games being released
Yeah.
lately, so we can't really afford to be one of them.
That is-
We're all in on that boat.
It's so important for us to enjoy the journey.
Yeah.
So we're a company that is really working hard to. But that's a contradiction, I guess. Working hard to avoid crunch.
Yeah.
I was about to say, but we're really committed to that.
Yeah.
And we want to enjoy the journey and not be like, oh, let's just crunch for 4 years and then enjoy life once the reviews are in.
Yeah.
But we want to be like,
Yeah.
having good work-life balance and maintain the passion for the game development is really important, and we like to think that shows in the product.
Yeah. No, I would tell you all it's definitely worth the wait. And if you need something to do while you wait, you have GTFO, you have PAYDAY.
Great, thank you.
And but no, I appreciate it, Kevin and Robin. Definitely, like I said, appreciate the time. I appreciate letting me play the game. And good luck. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.